Have you ever wondered why younger women sometimes seem to act differently around older men? Why they lean in a little closer, laugh a little harder, or find reasons to stay in your presence just a bit longer? Most men miss the signals completely. They think, she's just being polite, or she probably sees me as just another older guy. But the truth is, younger women have a way of revealing their interest, not through obvious declarations, but through subtle, almost hidden behaviors. And here's the secret. These signals are not random. They're rooted in psychology. They're subconscious ways of testing, of signaling, of expressing attraction without ever saying the words directly. In today's video, we're going to break down the hidden signs younger women show when they're flirting with older men. Each one is subtle, but together they paint a picture that's impossible to miss once you know what to look for. So, if you're ready to decode the truth and see attraction through a new lens, make sure you subscribe to Psychology of Desire right now and tap the bell icon. Because here, we don't just guess about attraction, we break it down with clarity, psychology, and precision. Now, let's dive into the first secret sign. 1. She uses playful contrasts. 1. One of the most fascinating ways younger women flirt with older men is through playful contrast. This is when she draws attention to the age difference in a light-hearted, almost teasing way. She might joke about you being more experienced, call you the wise one, or laugh about how you probably don't even use TikTok. At first glance, it seems harmless, just banter. But underneath, something much deeper is happening. Psychologically, this is a way of creating polarity. Polarity is the invisible spark that comes from difference. By highlighting your age, she's not mocking you. She's actually leaning into the tension between your worlds. And here's the subtle twist. By bringing it up playfully, she's not rejecting the age gap. She's acknowledging it as attractive. Think about it. If she wasn't interested, she wouldn't bring it up at all. She'd avoid the subject, keep it neutral, or even show discomfort. But when she frames it as playful, that's her way of turning what could be seen as a barrier into a flirtatious advantage. This playful contrast also allows her to step into a more youthful, feminine energy while inviting you to embody the grounded, experienced masculine role. It's a dance of opposites, and it creates magnetic tension. Have you ever noticed a younger woman joking about the songs you listen to, the movies you grew up with, or the way you do things compared to her generation? Pay attention. That's not distance. That's closeness in disguise. That's her using humor as a way to flirt, to connect, and to make the age gap feel like part of the attraction. And here's the real secret. When you don't get defensive, when you smile, lean into it, and maybe even tease back with confidence, you don't just pass her test. You ignite it. You take her playful spark and turn it into chemistry. That's the first sign. And once you learn to see it, you'll realize it happens far more often than you think. 2. She creates excuses to stay around you. 2. When a younger woman is flirting with an older man, one of the clearest, yet often overlooked, signs is how she finds little reasons to stay in your presence longer than she really needs to. This isn't always dramatic or obvious. In fact, the beauty of this sign is in its subtlety. She'll create small excuses, almost invisible to the untrained eye, to extend the interaction. Think about it. Maybe she lingers after a conversation has technically ended, adding one more comment, one more laugh, one more, "Oh, by the way," before leaving. Maybe she suddenly remembers something she wanted to ask you. Maybe she helps with something minor, even though she didn't really need to. To the casual observer, it looks innocent. But underneath, psychology tells us something powerful. People naturally want to spend more time around those they're drawn to. Here's where it gets even deeper. Younger women are often hyper-aware of how their actions can be perceived. Unlike a peer who might be more direct, she knows the age gap adds layers of complexity. She doesn't want to come off as too obvious, too forward, or too intentional, so instead, she cloaks her interest in everyday excuses. It's safe for her. But if you're paying attention, you'll see the pattern. She never really seems in a rush to leave. Let's put this into perspective with a scenario. Imagine you're at a social gathering. She finishes her drink, but instead of walking away, she stands nearby, asking about your opinion on something random. Maybe she pretends to need advice, like, "You've probably done this before. What do you think?" Or she notices something about your watch, your voice, your presence, and uses that as a hook to stay. Each small reason isn't about the question itself. It's about keeping the door open. Psychologically, this behavior signals comfort and attraction. Comfort because she feels safe in your presence, and attraction because she subconsciously values your attention. If she didn't care, she wouldn't bother finding reasons to stay. She'd simply exit the interaction and move on. But when she invests extra energy into extending the moment, it's her way of saying, "I'm not ready to leave you just yet." And here's the key insight. The more she does this, the more she's giving you permission to escalate the connection. It's a non-verbal green light that she wants more interaction. When you see this sign, don't just brush it off as friendliness. Recognize it for what it is. A hidden form of flirting that younger women often use with older men. Once you notice this, you'll never mistake it again. You'll realize she's not just hanging around, she's showing you her interest in the most subtle, feminine way possible. 3. She mirrors your energy and mannerisms. 3. One of the most fascinating psychological signs of attraction, especially when a younger woman is flirting with an older man, is the subtle act of mirroring. This doesn't mean she copies you in an obvious robotic way. Instead, she unconsciously aligns her energy, tone, gestures, and even pacing with yours. Why does this matter? Because mirroring is rooted in one of the deepest human instincts, the desire to bond. When someone mirrors your behavior, they're signaling comfort, trust, and emotional synchronization. For a younger woman, doing this with an older man is her way of bridging the gap between her world and yours. She's saying without words, "I feel connected to you." You might notice that when you lean back, she leans back too. When you slow your tone, she slows hers. When you cross your arms casually, she might do the same moments later. At first glance, it might seem coincidental, but over time, the pattern reveals itself. She's aligning herself with you to build chemistry. This happens because attraction isn't purely logical, it's emotional and subconscious. Our brains are wired with mirror neurons, which fire not only when we perform an action, but also when we observe someone else doing it. So when she's attracted, her body naturally syncs up with yours. It's like her subconscious is saying, "I want to be on the same wavelength as you." Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Younger women often see older men as more grounded, composed, and confident. By mirroring you, she's not just showing comfort. She's trying to tap into your frame of energy. She wants to feel what you feel, carry herself the way you carry yourself, and connect to your steadiness. It's her way of drawing closer, even without physical touch. Imagine you're at dinner. You take a sip of your drink, and seconds later, she does too. You adjust how you're sitting, and shortly after, she mirrors it. You tell a story with animated hand gestures, and suddenly she starts using her hands more too. None of this is conscious. But in the dance of attraction, it's incredibly powerful. And here's the deeper psychological truth. Mirroring doesn't happen when there's no spark. A woman who feels indifferent won't invest the mental energy to align herself with you. She'll stay in her own rhythm, her own space. But when she's drawn to you, especially across an age difference. She uses mirroring as a bridge, a way to quietly say, I'm with you. I feel you. I want to be close. If you want to test this, you can even lean into it. Change your posture, slow your voice, or tilt your head and watch if she follows without realizing it. If she does, it's one of the clearest, most undeniable signs that her attraction is real. So the next time you notice her matching your energy in conversation, don't dismiss it as coincidence. Recognize it as a silent form of flirting, one that reveals far more than her words ever could. 4. She finds reasons to touch you. 4. When a younger woman is flirting with an older man, one of the most telling and powerful signs is how she introduces touch into the interaction. But here's the key. It's rarely bold or obvious. Instead, it's subtle, playful, almost disguised as accidental or friendly. Yet beneath those light gestures lies a deep psychological message. I'm comfortable with you. I want to close the gap between us. Think about it. She might brush your arm when laughing at your joke, lightly tap your shoulder to emphasize a point, or lean in close enough that your hands almost touch. On the surface, it looks casual. But psychologically, touch is one of the strongest indicators of attraction. Humans are hardwired to crave physical closeness with people they like. It releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and creates a rush of intimacy in a way words alone cannot. For younger women, flirting with an older man comes with its own set of dynamics. She knows the age gap can create formality or distance, so touch becomes her way of breaking that barrier. It's her subtle signal. I don't see you as just another authority figure or mentor. I see you as a man I'm drawn to. And because she doesn't want to make it too obvious, she frames it as playfulness, a light shove when teasing, a gentle tap when she makes a joke, or even pretending to remove something from your shirt sleeve. Here's the psychological insight. People do not touch those they're not comfortable with. Touch requires vulnerability. It requires stepping into someone's space. If she wasn't attracted, she'd keep her distance. But when she introduces touch, even in small doses, she's testing the waters of intimacy. She's asking, without words, is it okay if I'm a little closer to you? This becomes even more powerful when you notice patterns. One touch can be innocent, but repeated touches, especially combined with eye contact, smiles, and laughter, tell a different story. She's not just interacting, she's flirting. And the more she does it, the clearer the signal becomes. Here's a scenario. Imagine you're sitting side by side at a cafe. She leans over to show you something on her phone, and her arm lingers against yours just a second longer than it needs to. Or you're walking together, and she playfully bumps into you with her shoulder. These moments are not random. They are designed to test how comfortable you are with her closeness. The best response? Stay relaxed. Don't flinch or overreact. Meet her touch with calm confidence. Because when you stay grounded, you show her that her closeness doesn't throw you off. It excites you, but in a controlled, masculine way. That's when the chemistry deepens. So remember this. When she finds excuses to touch you subtly, it's not just friendliness. It's one of the clearest, most powerful signals of interest a younger woman can give an older man. And if you recognize it, you'll never mistake attraction for coincidence again. 5. She gets nervously feminine around you. 5. One of the most revealing and often misunderstood signs that a younger woman is flirting with an older man is how her energy subtly shifts when she's around him. Instead of being bold or straightforward, she may display a kind of nervous femininity. This isn't clumsiness or shyness in the negative sense. It's her subconscious way of showing vulnerability, softness, and attraction. Psychologically, attraction often makes people self-aware. Around someone we're drawn to, we second-guess our words, we notice our gestures, and we even become more aware of our body language. For a younger woman around an older man, this heightened awareness can manifest as nervous laughter, fiddling with her hair, adjusting her clothes, or speaking in a slightly softer tone than usual. On the surface, these seem like small quirks, but in reality, they're powerful signs of interest. Why does this happen? Because the age gap adds a layer of intensity. Older men often project calmness, maturity, and confidence, qualities younger women naturally find magnetic. In his presence, her playful confidence may give way to butterflies. She wants to appear attractive, feminine, and appealing, but her body betrays her composure. The result? Those little nervous cues that scream, "You affect me." Let's look at some examples. Imagine you're having a conversation with her. She tucks her hair behind her ear repeatedly, even though it doesn't need adjusting. She laughs at things you say a little more than usual. Not fake laughter, but laughter that comes from nervous energy bubbling out. Or perhaps she blushes when you compliment her, looking away for a moment before making eye contact again. Each of these is a micro-expression of attraction, something she likely doesn't even realize she's doing. This nervous femininity is powerful because it breaks the illusion of indifference. A woman who feels nothing around you will stay composed, steady, and maybe even a little detached. But when her guard drops, when her energy softens, and when she starts showing those nervous cues, it's because her emotions are engaged. Attraction has entered the room. There's another layer to this as well. By acting a little nervously feminine, she's also signaling that she sees you as a man, not just an older acquaintance or a mentor figure. It's her way of stepping into a more youthful, receptive role in the dynamic. Whether she's aware of it or not, she's leaning into polarity, the dance between masculine and feminine energy, and that polarity is exactly what fuels attraction. Here's the best part. When you remain calm, steady, and composed while she's displaying this nervous femininity, you amplify the chemistry. Instead of matching her jitters, you ground the interaction. You make her feel safe in her nervousness, which only deepens her attraction. So, the next time you notice a younger woman twirling her hair, laughing nervously, or blushing around you, don't dismiss it as random. Recognize it for what it is, one of the purest, most human signs that she's not just comfortable with you, she's flirting, drawn in, and maybe even a little enchanted. 6. She looks for small excuses to touch you. 6 touch is one of the most primal languages of attraction, and when a younger woman is drawn to an older man, her body often reveals it long before her words do. What makes this sign fascinating is how subtle it often appears. She may not openly throw herself into your arms, but instead she'll find little, seemingly innocent reasons to make contact. On the surface, it looks casual. Deep down, it's a clear expression of flirtation. Think about it. Human beings are wired to touch the people we feel connected to. It's instinctive. But when attraction is involved, touch becomes something more than casual. It becomes a bridge between curiosity and intimacy. For a younger woman around an older man, this bridge often starts small. Brushing your arm when laughing, tapping your shoulder to emphasize a point, handing you something in a way that lets her fingers linger just a second too long. Each of these tiny actions carries weight. Now, why is this such a powerful sign? Because crossing into someone's physical space is a risk. We don't risk touch with people we feel nothing for. We maintain distance. But when a younger woman finds herself attracted to you, she instinctively looks for ways to close that gap, even if she disguises it as playfulness or accident. That little shoulder bump, that touch on your hand while talking. It's her body testing the waters. It's her saying, "Do you notice me? Do you feel this too?" Here's where psychology comes in. Touch releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Even the smallest brush of skin against skin can create a subtle sense of closeness. She may not consciously think, "I want to bond with him," but her body knows. This is why her touches might be quick, but frequent. She's building a rhythm of contact, gently weaving physical connection into your interaction. And here's something many men miss. Sometimes the accidental touch is anything but accidental. She leans closer than necessary, hands you her phone in a way that guarantees your fingers will graze, or adjusts her position so your legs brush while sitting side by side. These moments are loaded with meaning. She's signaling her attraction without ever having to say it outright. But pay attention to the way she does it. A woman who is purely friendly might give you a high five or a quick hug, but it stays neutral. There's no lingering, no subtle smile that follows, no softness in her eyes when it happens. In contrast, when she's flirting, her touch carries emotion. It feels intentional, even if disguised as spontaneous. Now, your role here is crucial. If you get flustered, pull away too quickly, or act as if the touch is forbidden, you can break the moment. But if you remain calm, grounded, and simply acknowledge it with a warm smile or by continuing the conversation naturally, you reinforce the comfort she feels in making that move. You show that you're unfazed, that her touch doesn't destabilize you. It draws you closer in a steady, masculine way. So here's the takeaway. If a younger woman keeps finding little excuses to touch you, it's rarely coincidence. It's her subconscious way of saying, "I'm interested. I want to be closer. I feel drawn to you." Those subtle touches are her body's love notes, and if you read them right, you'll realize she's not just flirting. She's inviting deeper connection. 7. She seeks your guidance or approval. 7. One of the most powerful, and sometimes overlooked, signs that a younger woman is flirting with an older man is the way she looks to him for guidance, perspective, or even subtle approval. On the surface, it may appear like she's just asking for advice. But underneath, it's about something deeper. She's drawn to your experience, your confidence, and your presence, and she wants to feel that connection in action. Here's why this matters. Younger women often see older men as men who have lived more life. You've faced challenges, built skills, gained wisdom, and developed a kind of calmness that younger guys often lack. This naturally creates polarity. She sees you not just as another man, but as someone she can look up to. And attraction thrives in that space between her curiosity and your authority. How does this show up? She may ask for your opinion on things that don't actually require it. For example, she could say, "Do you think I should wear this or that?" Or, "What do you think about this career move?" Even when she probably already knows the answer, she's inviting you into her decision-making process. Why? Because she wants to feel your presence guiding her. Another way this appears is in the way she values your approval, even if she doesn't say it directly. Imagine she cracks a joke in a group and then glances at you specifically to see if you laughed. Or she tells a story and watches for your reaction more closely than anyone else's. That subtle search for your response reveals a lot. She's not just speaking into the air, she's speaking to you. There's also a psychological principle at play here called transfer of authority. When someone looks up to you for guidance, their brain starts associating you with safety, direction, and stability. For a younger woman flirting with an older man, this creates a unique mix of attraction and trust. She feels both drawn to your strength and reassured by your calmness. That combination is intoxicating. But here's where men often misunderstand this sign. Some think she's just being friendly, or that she's treating you like a mentor. While that's sometimes the case, when flirtation is involved, there's a noticeable difference. She doesn't just want knowledge. She wants connection. She lights up when you give her input. She leans in when you speak. She uses your approval as a kind of mirror, reflecting how much your presence matters to her. It's important, though, not to overplay this dynamic. Attraction isn't about lecturing her or trying to dominate her decisions. It's about responding with calm confidence, sharing your perspective without needing to control the outcome. When you give guidance in a grounded way, with a smile, with presence, with steady words, you deepen her attraction without smothering her independence. The bottom line is this. When a younger woman flirts with an older man, she often reveals it through her desire for his guidance and her sensitivity to his approval. She doesn't just want answers. She wants to feel the energy of your wisdom. She wants to step into your world for a moment and sense what it's like to be aligned with your strength. So, if you notice her constantly asking what you think, watching for your reaction, or lighting up when you affirm her, don't brush it off as coincidence. Recognize it as one of the clearest signals that she sees you as more than just an older guy. She sees you as someone who excites her, challenges her, and quietly draws her closer every time you speak. 8. She finds ways to stay connected with you. 8. The last and perhaps most telling sign that a younger woman is flirting with an older man is her effort to keep the connection alive beyond the immediate moment. Attraction doesn't just live in glances, touches, or laughs. It reveals itself in how much she seeks to maintain closeness when you're not physically together. If she's genuinely drawn to you, she won't let the connection fade easily. Instead, she'll find ways, big or small, to keep the thread alive. This might show up in subtle ways. She texts you about something random, maybe a funny meme, a casual "this reminded me of you," or a question she could have easily Googled. On the surface, these don't seem like much. But underneath, they're clear signals. I want you in my world. I want to stay on your mind. She's creating excuses for contact, even when there's no real need. That's not casual friendliness. That's subconscious attraction at work. Other times she'll linger at the end of conversations or social encounters. Notice how she doesn't seem in a hurry to leave, how she stretches out goodbyes, how she brings up just one more topic to keep you engaged. This lingering is not random. It's her way of saying, I'm not ready for this connection to end. A woman who feels nothing will keep it short and clean. A woman who's flirting will always find ways to add just a little more time. Now, why does this matter so much? Because consistency is the ultimate sign of genuine attraction. Anyone can laugh at your joke in the moment or give you a quick touch in passing. But when she actively works to keep you in her orbit, it shows she's not just reacting to you, she's investing in the bond. This effort separates fleeting interest from meaningful attraction. Psychologically, this comes down to emotional anchoring. When she associates you with positive emotions, excitement, curiosity, comfort, or even butterflies, she naturally wants to reinforce that feeling. So she reaches out. She makes excuses to stay connected. She ensures you're not just a fleeting thought, but a steady presence in her daily rhythm. This is why her messages or interactions might come across as playful or casual on the surface. But the underlying drive is to secure her place in your awareness. Another sign here is when she engages with you publicly or on social media. Maybe she likes your posts quickly, comments with playful remarks, or shares something she knows you'll notice. These actions aren't accidental. They're part of her subtle flirting strategy. She's not just signaling to you. She's also signaling to the world that you're someone significant in her attention. Here's the key for you as a man. Don't mistake this effort for dependency. It's not that she can't live without you. It's that she chooses to keep you close. And that choice is powerful. It's attraction, expressed in the language of persistence.